and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Folks, AOC and the squad, is this the beginning of the end for them? Is their influence finally waning? Are people finally really just had it up to here? Or for too long, did we have these politicians on a pedestal that we projected would be that they would be greater than they said they would be? Did we present these individuals as fighters for truth to power, or really in the long run, do we have to realize that we can't put our face in these politicians anymore? So what do I mean? So what do I mean by this? Well, I want to pull up this video again. Shout out to Case Study QB, who again is wrongly being censored by Twitter. Yes, it's a clip from Fox News, but there was another town hall where AOC was being protested at. And to be very clear here, in fact, you know what? Before I pull up this video, I want to pull up a tweet from Jose Vega. We actually interviewed him. That interview is available on our YouTube channel and on Rockfin as well. And his words, I have to agree with him 100% on this one. This is just noise and incoherent, and I don't support this. Anger can be justified, but this is just juvenile. So this is the same Jose Vega who called out AOC as being a coward. He wanted a yes or no answer from her in regards to how she would vote about or where her stance is on a nuclear war. And these protesters, however, on the other hand, were loud, shouting her down. And of course, there's been a lot of videos of this incident being shared on social media. But he has a point here, because the thing is, it's one thing to, I guess, raise the ruckus and protest a politician. It's another thing altogether to be incoherent in it, but it sets a tone of really the anger of what's happening in America, as well as how people are viewing electoral politics. So let's pull up this video from Case Study QB, who again is wrongly being censored. And yes, this is a clip from Fox News. So hopefully all of you will still survive after seeing this clip from Fox.
New York AOC, a socialist, thought she'd get a warm welcome when she hosted a town hall in her district, but instead she got this. As AOC said, if you hate her, it must mean you want to date her. So AOC flirted back. Managing a crowd is hard. It takes tact, grace, and authority, none of which AOC has. The deluded socialist pretended she was in a club instead. Dancing is AOC's
Okay, first of all, again, not to defend AOC or anything, but again, Fox News, you're missing the point, the bigger point of this entire story. But AOC was not dancing at a club. That wasn't even club dancing. It's more she was just rocking to the rhythm of what those protesters were saying. And while I have my criticism for AOC, Fox News once again gets it wrong. Lauren, I'd like to have it add in your commentary on this real quick.
Well, I mean, this guy's, clearly just a wannabe Tucker Carlson, honestly, just the way that everything about him. And it, again, yeah, she wasn't club dancing. I don't think it was necessarily appropriate for that to be her response.
No, she should not have done that. She just should have been just watching it.
She
but
should have just
sat
there.
For the fire, yeah.
But that. Well, yeah, you're right. It's not club dancing. It's not his, and it's not his job to call her out on. Also, really sad if he thinks that's club dancing. He clearly has never been to a party. But the rest of the video goes into it a little bit more about the things that this guy. When I watched this video, he pissed me off more than her, honestly. And I was like, that's not what's supposed to be happening here. And I get some of the points you're making. I understand. But this guy, I was like, I want to punch him in his smug face.
Of course. Well, again, he's a Fox News anchor, similar to all corporate media. They always miss the bigger picture. And the thing is, this was the second time we saw on social media where AOC's town hall was interrupted.
But in this particular case, they weren't doing anything except for making a commotion. They didn't have a point to make. No
point at all.
It was just loud. I think that's what Jose was talking about, right? It's they weren't making a point. They weren't asking questions. They weren't trying to get her to come clean or come forward or do anything at all. They were just annoying everybody else who was there.
Exactly. Let me go ahead and continue on with the rest of the video. Because again, look, there's something bigger happening here that we have to address in regards to how Americans are viewing electoral politics and how this midterm election cycle will potentially play out as we are nearing its end.
Origin story, if you didn't know. It was this video from her college days that put her on the map.
All right, we're gonna just skip.
Yeah, well,
past
because
that
and they
part,
keep
'cause,
doing that.
again,
They keep showing this video of her dancing. Like, why did they keep like that? Is so irrelevant to anything that's happened. She has a video where she did a dance in her
Yeah.
college. Like, why do they people care about that? And I'm like, if this was this is one of those things that's like, I don't like to pull this particular card, but if this was a male politician, they would not be doing that. Like, that would not be something that they would have dragged up.
I think what's happening here. Fox News, obviously a conservative media outlet, is seeing that there's blood in the water towards how progressives, independents, and dare I say it, AOC's constituents are viewing her. Now, Fox News, being a corporate media outlet, let's face it, they're a conservative media outlet, just like how CNN and MSNBC are centrist. They're pragmatic. They're always going to be in the center of political issues. But when there's blood in the water, of course, corporate media will pounce on it. But I think what we're seeing here is a growing anger towards politicians in general. Now, AOC and the squad are going to be the lightning rod because they've made a lot of campaign promises. So what do I mean? So when they first got elected into office, there was a sense of, okay, they're going to raise the ruckus towards the Democratic machine. They're going to challenge party leadership. They're going to rally the people. There's going to be this idea of we are actually going to take back power in Washington, D.C. and moreover, turn over this corrupt system so we never see a repeat of 2016. At least, now, this is just a general brush of idealism right here, how people probably viewed the squad. And I think for the most part, a lot of us, and I'm going to say myself included, I had this idea that maybe they were going to do something different, that maybe they were going to use social media as a political tool so that they can actually, show these corrupt politicians that the people are tired of being screwed over.
Right.
But what did we see? We saw AOC and the squad in less than under a year quickly just become acclimated to the political machine in Washington, D.C. and more or less do more of the same. And we got no follow through. And for the most part, I think people eventually came to terms with that. Oh, well, they're just like any other politician, and they'll tweet things out that we want to see or hear or we agree with, but there's no follow through at all. And now we're seeing these aid packages, and I'm just going to mention Ukraine right here. They're getting billions upon billions of dollars of aid packaging. Whereas in the United States, we have a crumbling infrastructure, lack of clean drinking water. I mean, there are numerous cities and towns all across this country in blue and red states that are dealing with the same problem: contaminated water, lack of economic opportunities, lack of housing, lack of anything to help the American
people. There's not a lack of housing. We have plenty of houses. There's a lack of letting people live in them.
Exactly. And the thing is, what I feel when we see this is that when people see these aid packages going to Ukraine, and yes, this is a devastating conflict of which diplomacy was taking place. What Americans are wondering is, well, how come they're able to crap out money for this war, but nothing for us? And I think these politicians, all of them, are going to get challenged. They're going to be called out. And of course, people have every right to be angry because for the most part, we have been abandoned. When the lockdowns were going on, we were still told to pay our rent, pay our bills. But wait, we couldn't leave our house because it was quarantine. For millions of Americans, that was not an option. For millions of small business owners, that was not an option. And a lot of people lost their livelihoods and everything that they've worked so hard to build. So when AOC is being protested at, Fox News is going to get the message wrong. Lauren, I want to get your comments.
No, I think you are correct. And you brought up the war in Ukraine again. I don't think anyone here is I'm not pro war either. I don't think that we should be. I'm so sorry that this is happening to them. I feel really terrible for the civilians of Ukraine and Russia. Honestly, they didn't ask for this either. But like the fact that we do continue sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, but we can't, make sure that people have a place to live here. Like we can't make sure that they've got safe water here. That is a problem. And I think that it is also true that we did put some of these people on a pedestal. They promised that they would be here for us. They said that they were going to be working for the people to actually make things better for the majority of Americans. And it does seem like most of those promises have fallen by the wayside. And again, I think, the answer is you get some money and you're like, well, maybe I can get a little bit more. And maybe your intentions started out really good. Maybe they're still good, but like you're playing a long game, and then that just sucks you deeper and deeper into the quicksand until you can't remember where the light is anymore. I think it's similar to, how we say in movies or TV, like the best villains don't realize they're villains. They don't think of themselves that way.
Yeah.
They think of themselves as someone doing something upright or the correct thing, the right thing. And sometimes it's just the right thing for their close people. But I do think that we put some of these politicians on a pedestal. There's a reason they say don't meet your heroes. Like we believed them, which maybe was on us. We believed them. We thought that something was going to happen, and it did seem like things were going to start shifting for a little while. Like it really did seem the first little while that the squad was becoming really active, it really seemed like things might change. But after Green New Deal fell through and like a couple of other things like that they couldn't get them past the House. They couldn't get them passed. Like then it sort of seems like there was a lot of giving up involved, and they didn't keep trying. They didn't, and I don't know. And I haven't read all of the bills. I don't know what's in the pipeline down the line. I don't know if they're still waiting on something in particular, or if they're just giving up because it's, election season. And so they're like, we have to campaign instead of actually following through on anything else at all, because that happens a lot.
I think the big issue, though, is that when, and especially in 2018, when I guess AOC and the squad members got elected into office, they were part of Justice Democrats. And I think one of the biggest failures of the Justice Democrats as a whole is that they added in, or they did not have any kind of real accountability or influence over these politicians as soon as they got elected. Because the whole idea of Justice Democrats, okay, we're going to reform the Democratic Party, we're going to do this, but then they let them go into Washington, D.C., and there was no accountability. AOC has yet to show her face on TYT, the place that she got started on. AOC was quick to jump on the Jimmy Dore show and quickly use his platform to get her name out there. A lot of these progressive lawmakers that are now elected will not show their face on independent media. They'll go into safe spaces like MSNBC or CNN because they know that they're going to be okay. I just want to play just one other video here real quick. I just wanted to play a few more minutes of this Fox News clip. I know, I apologize, folks. It is Fox News, but I just want to continue on. I had to fast forward because I don't want to be hit with the copyright music. And of course, they're being smug about AOC dancing, which I don't care, but whatever.
Andrea, it's not that kind of establishment. You're a congresswoman. We pay you to be our voice in Washington while we're all busy working. But it's hard to work in AOC's district because it's becoming a war zone.
A woman that was stabbed 20 times, that was a 9/11 FBA watch. This is insanity.
Queens wants answers from the congresswoman, but she doesn't have any. She's just there to perform, not legislate. She ran for office on defunding police and ending cash bail, and now her policies are getting people killed. It's getting hard for her to even show her face around town. That's why someone hit the lights.
Okay, when this happened, I gotta say, look, all politicians deserve criticism. But when I saw this on social media, look, I'm critical of AOC too. But when those lights went out, I thought, oh my goodness, no, yeah. I mean, seriously, like that. For the environment that we're in here, no lawmaker. I want to repeat this again: no lawmaker, current or former. As much as we are very critical and angry towards these politicians, my heart sank. I'm thinking, oh God.
Yeah, no, get her out of here. And like you see like the text screen at the bottom, like, I can't be in the dark, I'm special. It's like, no. People
Yeah.
are furious at her in that room. And now the lights are out. No one can see. Yeah, get her out of there. That is why she has a security team.
Exactly. And look, the thing is, there is a boiling point, and this is what I am afraid of, is that there's going to come a point to where people are not going to care. People are going to get very angry towards these politicians, especially if this economy keeps spiraling down into the disaster that we pretty much know it's going to reach to. When people have nothing left to lose, they're going to look at these politicians. But I want everyone to understand that it is impossible to hold out for hope that somehow the Democratic Party and Republican Party is going to get their act together. It's got to come with us, the people. But the way these politicians have been denying any kind of aid or relief package for the American people, we're not getting our $1 billion relief package. Well, people are going to start getting angry, and it's going to lead to further escalation. And what these politicians need to realize is that they are not infallible. They are not something. They're not people that are deemed like high lords and ladies. But this is almost like the breaking point or a point of no return. So what the squad needs to realize is that they are running out of whatever goodwill that they do have towards people, or that people have towards them, because it's going to get worse. And your job is to help make the lives of your people better. But since then, we've seen these politicians, well, make themselves richer. I mean, when's AOC going to say anything about Nancy doing insider trading, or all the other politicians doing insider trading? I mean, at this point, rally your legions. You do have millions of followers on social media. You can do something. You just can't sit there and say that you can't. I get that Washington, D.C. is a crazy environment. It's a swamp bubble. But if you're going to be doing nothing, I fear that one day we're going to see a video on social media, the lights do go out, and the worst thing does happen, which is something I do not want to see.
No.
So I want to pull up this other video here too.
Before we do, I just wanted this is not as much about her, and it's more about the media and news in general. Like, do you know if what he was saying about the people who, like, those policies that he mentioned being the reason that people are getting hurt, like, did the guy who stabbed the lady or the boy, was he someone who was released on bail? Like, was he someone who was released because of the no cash bail thing, or was it just random violence? Because, like, I feel like a lot of the time politicians who have those sort of policies, the media tends to twist it really, really harshly in a way that it's like, oh, you see this person, like, if they didn't defund the police, then there would be more police, and then that person wouldn't have gotten stabbed, which I don't think is true. Especially because defunding the police is more about making sure they don't have, military grade material, and not about not paying them. But I was just wondering if, like, what he was talking about was actually true. Like, did the people who did those crimes that were being brought up in that town hall, were they people who were released based on the no cash bail thing, or because there were just not enough police officers in patrolling that particular area on that particular moment?
Yeah.
I don't know. I doubt he knows. I think that he just was, like, excited that people are angry, that people are getting hurt on AOC's watch. And it's like, I don't know if that person was even the criminal was even from Queens. Like, you don't know that.
No, we don't. And
we don't know anything.
Another thing too, we have to realize is that there is a lack of mental health facilities in this country to take care of a lot of people who are dealing with a lot of personal issues. And the thing is, the only thing our law enforcement knows what to do is arrest them, put them in jail,
and usually hurt them while they do it,
and throw away the key. And the thing is, let's face it, we've done numerous reports, as have our colleagues in independent media, about how corrupt the police are, the violence that we see. There's a lack of real accountability. And so I want to read this quote from Rick Solis, who says, "People don't flip over a car because they are happy. Just saying, help them before they do." Which, again, the total point. help people before they want to flip a car. There's a reason why
Mhm.
riots do happen. There's a reason why people don't trust the police. It's not that they woke up one day out of the blue. It's because there's been an ongoing system of violence, corruption, and lack of accountability. So when I interviewed Jose on our show, he mentioned that he also, did challenge Jamal Bowman and Pramila Jayapal. And yes, he went to AOC's event too. And the thing is, looking at his confrontation or calling out AOC for her, for all these politicians, Jayapal and Bowman and Kluman, for their hypocrisies, comparing that to what we saw in that town hall, at least we're getting somewhat of more of an organization, something that's really kind of getting out there. Because look, we're getting, again, Ukraine's getting billions of dollars in aid. The American people aren't getting nothing. But the thing is, all these politicians are being called out. And I want to pull up this video that's recently been shared on social media where, again, squad member Ayanna Presley has also been challenged. And I like to pull up this video. There's something that really stood out to me, especially when the supporters turned around.
If that's what you are, a student leader, just never lose that.
I was just gonna ask you a question because SJP.
Right there. That's sort of like the managerial turn. Like, how dare you ask a question?
So Students for Justice in Palestine meets in here.
Okay.
And we were just wondering, do you support BDS? So boycott, divest, sanctions, and what your stance was on that.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to say that you support that, I think it's pretty important.
Yeah. Well, first of all, how often do you all meet? I'd love to come and be a part of a meeting. Can we do that?
Yeah. Well, so we meet Mondays
Okay.
here at 7:30.
So I'm usually in Washington Monday through Friday, but when we are in legislative recess, I'm here, which is why I'm here this week. And can I participate in a meeting via Zoom or something? I would love to do that. Okay, so let me tell you this: as an African American, many of the progress that my people have realized would not have been made possible without boycott. Okay, so I would not be here and have the freedoms that I have were it not for that.
Okay, but the thing is, they're asking a yes or no question. Like, hey, are you for boycott, divestment, sanctions? That's what they're asking, and I think for them, and the same thing too when Jose was calling out AOC. Yes or no? What is your stance on a nuclear war that could happen in Ukraine? Yes or no? Give us an answer. Now,
She
obviously,
seems like she's answering a little bit closer than AOC did. She's giving a little bit.
a little bit, but we're getting a word
of...
salad though. That's what I think we're getting.
There is
a little bit of a word salad.
Would you oppose the funding for the Iron Dome in Israel?
I voted against the Iron Dome funding.
But would you continue to oppose that? Because a lot of times I've seen, a lot of the politicians who, first would oppose, something like the funding for the Iron Dome, eventually switch their position, and one of your colleagues, AOC, she did that. There's a bunch of other politicians, not only Palestine, but a bunch of different issues. So I think would you continue to oppose any Iron Dome funding or any funding really for Israel?
I don't think it would be responsible for me I don't want to have a one-off discussion here. I think it's important. I'd rather just talk to the whole group.
It's just a question. Yeah, it's just a question.
No, but I just would like to do it. I came here to be in support and an ally around reproductive justice. And that's what I'm here for in this moment. I would love to come back and have a conversation with you all so it's not a one-off and we can talk about the whole agenda. But there is not any position that I've taken where I would ever just say unilaterally, this is what I'm doing no matter what, because that's not how the legislative and governing process works.
Okay, so I did find that answer interesting, at least for the most part, where at least she was trying to give answer a question, but it's again, it's more of the word salad that we get from these politicians. And,
that was the least complicated word salad I think that we've gotten from any of them, though.
Yeah.
I was I actually was able to follow what she was saying. And that's one of the few times that I've actually gotten, I'm like, oh, you know what? But that actually does make sense. We're here about a different issue. Now you're changing it up a little bit. It's like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to, it's a complicated issue. We can't just say one-off thing here so you can post it on Twitter, which is exactly what they did anyway. But it's I do understand the need to be like, look, can we please actually talk about this when we have a lot of time to talk about it? And then I also do get the the unnerving, like, I wouldn't want to give a unilateral answer either necessarily. Like, there's certain things it's like, yeah, sure, yes or no, but it sounds like the questions too were kind of multifaceted, and it's like, okay, but I can answer one of them but not the other, and no matter what I say, I'm gonna be disappointing somebody. Someone's gonna get mad at me, and then, you know, if something happens later down the line and I tell you one answer now, like, for sure I will never ever change my opinion on this, you know, and then like 2 years from now something changes in the world and we have new information, we have something, then you have to change your mind. Then people pull up this old video and it's like, well, she said she would never act. I was like, yeah, I get why you don't, especially in an like in a place like that where she's alone essentially, just with a bunch of people who are looking to catch her out in something, because that's what they were wanting to do. They wanted to catch her out. And it's like, I get her not wanting to
I think
come down hard on anything, because no matter what she said, she was gonna get slammed around.
I think what I think a lot of people have been calling for now is finally some action, because the thing is, yeah, to Presley's part, at least she had a conversation and wasn't saying, "Hey, you're being rude."
Mm-hmm.
But
She wasn't screaming at anybody.
But it's more of a deflect, pivot, and yes, probably a more coherent word salad. But my issue is that there isn't an answer, and the thing is, the fact that I understand that she can't give. I'm willing to give a stretch to this. Like, okay, you can't give an answer, but the thing is, that's only going to work for so long as people are tired of it. It's like, imagine me saying, yeah, we'll it's like a parent saying, hey, we're going to go to the zoo. We're going to go to the zoo. 10, 12 years later, hey, we never went to the zoo, right? It's just, we've heard this since 2018 when the squad became a political force. We've been seeing all this non-action, and I can't give it a pass. I even if it's in a realm of playing a game of politics, what your diehard supporters or former diehard supporters want is just a yes or no answer, because this midterm, the consequence that we're going to see from it is, again, a lack of voter turnout, and the squad, in my opinion, has lost whatever remains of the goodwill that they fostered with the aftermath of the 2016.
Oh, I think for sure they did. I think that's gone.
Election, like, that's gone. And all these videos now that we're seeing, from my own analysis, they are no different than the people they replaced. They will post things on social media with issues and policies that I agree with, and nothing more. And
I'll give you that.
For me, I think for a lot of the audience here too, you know, people are just burnt out by electoral politics. Just give us a simple, succinct answer. And the fact that the very progressives who were elected in on goodwill and hope, and mind you, I think it's a little bit of our fault too for putting them on a high pedestal. I'm guilty of that. I held out hope for Bernie Sanders to do something good, and that was my mistake. I thought he'd learn from 2016. Obviously didn't. I have to take the L on that one. There will be more growing anger and more pushback. And the thing is, the worst thing now, and I hope the squad will pay attention to this, or their diehard sycophants, is that if you start blaming people for the Democrats' failure for this midterm election cycle, then that's it. You will have nothing to run on for 2024. All the fear tactics of the orange boogeyman, all the fear tactics of this election cycle from this midterm, it will come back to haunt them tenfold in 2024. And you've been warned. There's been times where you could have done the right thing, and they chose not to because they wanted to acclimate into a political machine.
Right. And I mean, and like we were talking about last time too, all of the Democrats voted to send the money to Ukraine. So like they all voted for that. Not a single one of them didn't vote to send that money. And so it's like, yeah, okay. That's why I understand why they have to ask those questions. I do think that I really I wish I would see more of these videos where someone's going in good faith and not, it just feels like a lot of they do just want to get a rise. They want to, it's like, I want to see more good faith videos. Like the one with the AOC town hall where the guy was really upset about, you know, crime and people being stabbed. That felt genuine. That felt Like he was legitimately wanting to navigate. He wanted an answer.
yeah.
He wanted, like, that's what I would prefer to see. I don't want to see it's like, oh, well, we're going to spring this extra thing on this person when they're more prepared. Like, you know, it's like, just stop. Can we just have a good faith conversation? And also, why did you turn your phone around? It was really distracting.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
like,
So
bad
someone has to
video
run that
quality,
camera,
like,
yeah.
but I was just like, there's in general, I'm just like, I want to see more good faith questions, where, yeah, no, absolutely, call them out on their word salad. Be like, or at least explain why you can't give me a direct answer to this, like, and more of that. Can we ask that question? It's like, well, why can't you give me a straight answer?
Mhm.
Are you against apartheid or not? Like,
Yeah.
can you answer that at the very least? Like, and then work back to like, where is the straight answer that you can get, and then figure out where the disconnect is happening, and then push that point. Once you figure out where the question, instead of just asking 7 questions mixed into 2 and getting mad when the person answers half of one of them and then gives you blah 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 for everything else. That's what I would prefer to see, I think, when it comes to protesting these particular politicians and asking them very specific questions. Don't just go in there with the, oh, I can't wait to get something to call them out on. I don't want to, I'm tired of that, and it's not helpful.
Yep.
And it's not progressing your own agenda. It's just making people angry.
I think for the most part, and this will be the final statement for this one. They've lost whatever goodwill they had. Any kind of statement that they are making, it will come back to haunt them. I think the lack of action when there was plenty of opportunity for them to do the right thing. They just did theatrical politics, and the squad will suffer for this. They are going to get blamed for their lack of inaction and silence for this election cycle, and it just leads to my point: vote third party, vote independent. And it's time for us to start building organizations and movements not connected to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
In the long run, this is the beginning of the end of the squad, and I will not be surprised if some of them choose to do early retirement, or either that lose their election when they are up for re-election. So it can happen, and that's what will happen because people are tired of it.